This conference will now be recorded.
So if I want to communicate any of the device, so I need a IP address must. So what once if I connect my system to the network, if I connected my system to the network, so what happens first time? So my system, this is a client. This is the my mission, and so here a lot of another devices like client B mission in a computer B, computer C, and here a lot of servers. Along with that, there is a one server called as a DHCP server. Now, the client mission here, the client mission sends a DHCP. It's asking for I want an IP address. I want a IP address because this system doesn't have any IP address. Once it is connected to the network, so it looks for an IP address. So what it does is, so this system initially have an IP address of 0.0.0.0. So now this system sends a DHCP. It sends a broadcast packet asking the IP address. So what is the destination IP? It is a broadcast packet, that is a 255.255.250 all 250. So it sends a broadcast packet, means everyone in the network will receives this broadcast packet. Now, who will be responsible for providing the IP address? Only DHCP will be responsible for performing the IP address. So DHCP server receives that, hey, I am the one, I will be providing the IP address to you. So this is called as the first step. It is a discovery. Sending a broadcast to everybody means it is discovering for a DHCP server. Now DHCP server will receive the discovery packet with a broadcast IP address of 255.255.255, and DHCP server will respond back. DHCP server will respond back and will assign will send the network information. So it offers that is the second phase. It offers the network configuration information. So what do you mean by the network configuration information? So the network configuration information is, it provides the IP address to this mission. It provides the IP address and subnet mask, okay, and default gateway. That information will be provided to this computer. So that is the offer. Okay. How many phases we have done? First phase is the discovery phase. So you are the client mission, and we have an n number of devices in the computer A, computer B, and this is the DHCP server. So every first packet is the broadcast, that is the discovery packet. So it is a broadcast. Everybody receives it from the client. So only the DHCP server receives and it sends a unicast. It performs the unicast. That is the offer. What it offers? Network configuration information, so which contains the IP address, MAC IP address, subnet mask, and default. Where you can see all this information. And I don't have admin rights to do this. I don't have admin rights. See here, you can see here the IP address, DNS server information I have. Okay, preferred DNS, alternate DNS. So everything will be there. That information who will provide? The DHCP server. DHCP server will provide, because the DHCP server have all the IP address pool. Okay, and their network DNS server information. One second. So IP address, subnet mask, preferred DNS, it gives up the network configuration having the IP address, subnet mask, DNS information, DNS, what is the DNS IP address? So because if I wanted to go outside of the network, so you must need a IP address. So now your system having your system got the IP address, but still it is not authorized to use the whatever the, let's say the system got the 10.10.0.5 example, but still it doesn't authorize to use until the client has to request. The client has to request the DHCP server. So that is the request. So the DHCP server then, okay, yes, I'm acknowledging to your request. That is the accepting. So that is the DORA. We can call it as a complete process as a DORA process. So first it sends the discovery packet. So that is the broadcast offering. Then offer, who will offer? The server will offer. Then is the next one is the client mission requesting, and the server will providing. Server will accepting that IP address. Then only the system can be able to use the IP address. Until completing all this DORA process only, the system able to use the IP address and able to communicate to other systems. So this complete process happens in not even fractions. It's almost 100 of one example, like not even 1 second. It's in 1 second it's a 1 by 100 or something like that. So it's very fraction of seconds the whole process happens. Any queries here? Very simple. Client, server, discovery packet, discovery for server, DHCP server. DHCP server will offering in the sense it offers a network configuration. Then it assigns the client has to request this network configuration information. I mean, IP address, subnet mask, everything. Then DHCP server will accept, or even we can call it as an acknowledgement to the client mission. So finally, done. That's how the DHCP protocol works. So as I know, I'm going slow, I know, but so you guys are already aware of this concept. So, but another Rajiv doesn't know. So that's why I'm going a bit slow. I know I'm going slow, and so all these communications happens via port number 67 and 68. So DHCP client mission uses a port number 68. So whenever client is communicating to DHCP server, it uses the port number 68. DHCP server will use the 67. So first of all, what is the port number? So first you have to understand what do you mean by port number. Any idea what is the port number? Why we go for a port number? Any idea?
For configuration, we go for a port number.
Sorry.
For configuration.
See, port number is any service can be identified based on the port number. Let's say one server receives a request with a port number of 68 means so that is it is asking for some DHCP server service. Let's say DNS server receives, here in the network you have so many servers. So client mission sends a broadcast. So here DHCP server is there, DNS service is there, FTP server is there, SMTP servers are, everything is there, FTP servers is there. Only why DHCP server responds? Why only DHCP server will respond and give it to reply to the client mission? Because who is providing the DHCP server service? Only DHCP server is providing based on the port number. So any service can be identified based on the port number only. Let's say you have in your organization, sales people and technical guys are there, and other guys also there. If somebody comes, all together are sitting one place. Okay, sales guy is sitting one place, HR people is sitting one place, and technical guy, something IT support guy also sitting in the same place. So IT guy's responsibility is what? IT guy responsibility is what? They will provide some system issues or some application issues or something like that. Now, what about the HR functionalities? What the HR will do? He will, any new joinee will be there, any new joinees or something will be there. So he will take care of that things. Sales guy, what they will do? He will talk about some sales things. Now, one guy came to office and he's saying that I have a system. My system having some trouble. All together, all 4 people are sitting, all 3 people are sitting. Sales, HR, IT. Who will respond? Which guy will respond? IT, finance guy, sales guy, or HR? Who will respond? System issue. That's a system issue.
IT guy.
Why? Because he will be responsible for taking care of system issues, application issues. Here also the same concept. You have a DHCP server, you have a DNS servers, you have a FTP, file transfer protocol service. So now you sense I need an IP address. Who will respond? DNS server will not respond. FTP also will not respond. DHCP server, only DHCP server will respond. Because how they respond? Why? Based on the port number only. You're not here. The client mission will not ask. Client mission will not talk to the other mission. How they talk based on the paid port numbers only they will talk. So they're not a human, right? So humans means human will go and ask. Then so who will resolve my system issue? So system issue is resolved by only the IT support, not a HR team or finance team. The same missions talks based on missions will talk based on the request. So they will send a request. So that request contains the port number. Port number is something like a 68. So it is saying that with the port number 68 means it is asking us some DHCP service. So it identifies the service based on the port number. So that is the port number. So every service have a port number. So DNS service have the port number of 53, and file transfer protocol FTP, if you want to do some file uploads, downloads, so that service will be identified based on the FTP port number is 2021. Okay, and like that we have SMTP communications, SNMP, we have a different port numbers. So SNMP service can be identified based on a 161 port number. Like that, every port number have a service. So I hope you got to know what is the port number and what it is. So here DHCP server and their responsibility. What the DHCP server will do here. Okay. Any questions on DHCP? This is a very important. So the process is very important, DORA process. So if it is the same network, if there is no, the example, if the DHCP is not in the local network, got it? Now, example, the one mission performs the broadcasting. So broadcasting only performs on a local network. Let's say this is my mission 1.3. So broadcast 192.1.1.3. Broadcast will send up to send to 1.255 is the last. Okay, but DHCP server is there in another subnet. Example, 192.1.2.5.5 it is there. This is a different network. So this system can be able to broadcast till 1.255 and anywhere 1.255, but it is there in the it is there in some other network. It is not in the same subnet. Then how the device gets the IP address? I hope you guys are know only the DORA process, but if the server is not in this is a real time example. When there is no DHCP server in the same subnet, how the device gets the IP address? So here we go for a router. So what the router will do? Router receives and it forwarded to another, forward to the DHCP server which is there in the different network. So we were using the DHCP, we were using the we can call it as a routing, inter VLAN routing also. We can call it as a inter VLAN routing also. This action. So if it is not in the same segment, so we were going for a router to router. So the router is responsible for connecting two different networks. So the router will reach to the DHCP server and then get the IP address. So we are using a router in between your network and that is different network of DHCP server, and you will get the IP address. Now, so how many we have TCP protocols? What are the TCP protocols? DNS. So not a DNS. So DNS will be used. DNS will be used by UDP protocol. UDP. At the same time, DNS zone transfer as a one. Zone transfer. So DNS zone transfer uses the protocol called as a TCP. So usually all DNS communications happens via UDP protocol. So how many protocols we have? TCP and UDP. So first TCP, HTTP, under TCP, HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, so SMTP. So all this comes under TCP and UDP. Under UDP, DNS and a few more things out there. I am not recalling. So, but even SNMP also. SNMP also comes under UDP. So DNS, DHCP concept is over now, and so we'll discuss DNS. So what is the DNS? Why we need a DNS? What do you mean by the DNS? What is the definition of DNS? Okay. Break it. Domain name and system. So it is responsible for providing the most of the cases we were not typing we were just typing the example, we were typing the google.com. Let me talk about exactly the domain name first. So domain name system DNS service, what it will do is it provides the DHCP server. DNS server is responsible for providing a name to IP address. Name to IP address. Let's say if I type www dot some hdfc.com. So what it does, the request, when you type this request, automatically the DNS server will get this request from your computer. Okay, your DNS server will receive this IP name and it return back the what it gives, IP address. So the DNS have the domain to domains means URLs. whatever you type google.com, HDFC or whatever it is the domain. So this DNS server have the domain to IP address. So domain and what is the IP address? It is having all that information. It is like a telephone directory. Let's say I wanted to dial Rajiv. So what I'm doing, what I'm gonna do? So I'll search for the. I know only Rajiv's name. I don't know Rajiv's mobile number. So what I will do? I will just go to telephone directory. This is the telephone directory. What the telephone directory contains a lot of people's and their phone numbers. So I will search for the Rajiv. What is the Rajiv's and the Rajiv's phone number. So then I will dial to Rajiv. If I want to do call Gautam, so I will search for the name of the Gautam and I can get the phone number and I can dial. The same way here, in order to communicate a specific domain or specific site, let's say HDFC, but HDFC. So then it goes to the DNS server. So the DNS server is a telephonic directory which is having a domain to IP address. So domain to same way. Name to how the telephone directory contains the name to phone. The same way here it contains the domain to IP address and it gives the IP address to your computer. So IP address will communicate to HDFC with the help of IP address. Got it? So you cannot remember why we are going for a DNS server, because you cannot remember. So any system, if you want to communicate, if I want to communicate the Google server, so you need a IP address, right? So any of the device, if you want to communicate, you must need a IP address. So, but you cannot remember every time the IP address. You cannot remember the Google IP address. Few you can remember. Few things you can remember. Maximum how many you can remember? 4 IP address or 5 IP address. You cannot remember more than that. So for that, to avoid that specific this kind of issues, so we were going for a DNS server. So the DNS server contains all the entries, the same like a telephone directory. You cannot remember everyone's phone numbers, right? If you have 700 members, 800 members, you have a friends, family members, everybody, 1000 members, example. So you can remember hardly 4 or 5 numbers. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, you guys are able to hear, right?
Yeah, now we are getting your voice.
Because the power is down, so the Wi-Fi is disconnected. Cool. So where we are, so it's like a telephonic directory. So you can remember only the certain people numbers, so other than you cannot remember. So that's why we are going for a telephone directory to refer the numbers. The same way here, the DNS server is having the list of IP address for the specific domains. Okay. So whenever you type in URL, the request will go to the DNS server. DNS server will be giving a IP address. So then you will be contacting to the specific site. Okay. So that is the introduction about DNS server. So let's say a case where you hosted a new domain. You hosted a new domain called as www.gautam.com. Okay, that gautam.com you have hosted in your local DNS server. Let's say in your service provider is Airtel, so you host it on your Airtel DNS server. So how, and one of the guy from America is trying to access your website. So whether he's able to access your site or not. He's able to access your website or not. The question for you guys. It is hosted in, if no, what?
Since because he needs IP
Okay,
and it is not present in DNS.
not present in DNS, but it is hosted in the local DNS server. Right? It is hosted in the local DNS, and one of the DNS server it is hosted in the internet itself. Let's say he hosted, the website is something like his website belongs to some education. He started a college. Okay, he started a college, and the college name is something like abc.edu. It states that it's a educational institute. Okay, and he hosted in a where he will host. So local in a local service provider, with the help of local service provider, he hosted the DNS server. Let's say I can choose the GoDaddy.com is a web hosting provider. So with the help of web hosting, I created a one domain called as some abc.edu, and I hosted. Okay, in my local DNS, my local ISP. So whether I'm able to access or not from some other country I'm trying. Let's say I hosted in Bangalore, and so can I able to access from the US or London or whichever the country other than Bangalore? Able to access again? Yes. If it is yes, so what could be the possibilities? How the data will reflect in other cities, other their service providers. Like they America guys are accessing using some Vodafone link. How the Vodafone get to know the IP address of, if they are able to access? If they are able to access, how the Vodafone get the IP address of your Bangalore hosted website IP address? How it gets? Okay, that's for you guys. Okay, so just get this information tomorrow, and so what could be the possibilities how DNS server get this information? So it uses a mechanism. There is a hierarchy set. It follows the hierarchy process to get the IP address. So just try to research something about this. How, if a new website is posted, how the other guy from the, let's say, another country guy will get the IP address of the specific site, let's say edu website or something like any other, not a edu stuff. It is something like finance related stuff or whatever it is. So how other guy will get the web page or a website of your IP address. So just go through a couple of resources, how DNS hierarchy, there was a hierarchy process. Just go through it and try to understand what you understand. Let me know, please. Okay, and also, so I'll share a couple of protocols and their port numbers. So yeah, make sure remember the protocols, their port numbers. So I'll share a couple of almost I think 100 or something, more than 100 plus protocol numbers. But make sure you have to remember a couple of things, couple of protocols like FTP, SSH, Telnet, SNMP, DHCP, DNS, and POP3, IMAP, and SMB, NetBIOS protocols and the port numbers. Something else is there. RTP, something there. Like that, a lot of things. The HTTP, HTTPS. We have a lot of port numbers. I'll share the PDF, so just go through it and I'll ask the port numbers also tomorrow. Just refer it and come. And this one also you just go through it. Okay, we'll discuss more about. We'll discuss tomorrow the DNS concept, and also we'll cover a couple of other protocols like FTP and SMTP. What else is there? Few more protocols we'll discuss tomorrow. Okay. So I know I'm going a bit slow because so other people also follow. Even we can say within 10 minutes also we can cover the DHCP and ARP also, but the new people has to understand. So that's it. Okay. Fine. I'll catch you tomorrow the same time, 10 a.m. Okay. Any issues? Any concerns? Timings?
No issues.
No.
You
No.
have any other? Okay. Rajiv? So you don't have any concerns on the timings, and if you have any questions, you can ask me. Personally, you can ping me one-to-one. You can ping me so that I will reply. Okay. Anyone. If you have any questions, you can ping me. So your CV is already already updated. So Rajiv, Kirtna, Tilak, two formats. Yeah, I'm done. In the two formats. The two different formats I done it. I mean, for you guys, depends on your experience. Depends on your. So Kirtna.
Yeah.
So you're working on the same company, like you took already that certificates from that company.
Yes.
You have already, right? Okay. What about Gautam? The same company you also want to work. I mean,
No, you're asking about like experience.
no. So you have mentioned one company name, right? After in Infosys.
That I don't have. That's
Okay.
what I had it out. We have mentioned in that and we have updated. Okay. So the thing is, we are not getting called. We had a confusion on that. Like, is it the correct one or not?
I'm not sure whether the company is there or not. And if the company is there,
Okay.
whether they provide the certificates or not, that also you have to confirm. Whether they will provide or not. They will give the certificates like experience letter, everything. Okay.
Okay.
If they are ready to provide